So I just wanted to bring it to y'all attention. I did change my username from Inspired by Aisha to Dear Anti-Diaries Aisha. Inspired when I came up by the name, it's like with the name, it's like I'm so used to inspiring. Inspired by Aisha was based on I'm always inspiring certain people and always being a light in certain people's area, certain areas in other people's lives. I'm shining light on those situations, you know. But what I've noticed is that I'm not an inspiration to myself. I can inspire other people's lives, and just, you know, get them to see the positive in a negative situation. Um, and I just feel like I'm not that truthful to myself. I'm not as truthful. When it comes to me, I've noticed that um, in a negative situation, I don't want to put inspiration or put positive things in the midst of that when I know it's not the truth. I just want to be truthful. I don't want to be inspiring to every situation that could be a negative situation. I don't want to be that type of influence to anyone else anymore, and I don't want to be an influence to myself in that way. Not that any of the inspiration that been putting out here is lies. There's nothing that I'm lying about on here that is an inspiration or an influence in my life. Everything that's on here was an inspiration in my life. Wasn't, I was definitely just being honest and truthful about everything that I've done. So recently I ended that name, and me ending that name is basically like, okay, y'all see all of, like, this is my past, that was my past, the past experiences that I've had with those things or certain people or a certain situation, or all those experiences, were based on that mindset of me shining light and being a positive influence on other people's lives and my life as well. Well, other people's lives, yeah, in my life as well. And the inspiration was more so on the outside of me, not on the inside of me. So, like I said, I've um had to take a rain check, on that. And, well, not a rain check because I'm not really putting it off to go back, but I'm putting it off completely. So, that was the end of Inspired by Aisha. And I have recently, um, I came up with this name, Anti-Diaries of Aisha. I mean, Dear Anti-Diaries, Aisha. Um, I came up with that name because I got curious because I recently had made a post, and a name popped up and it was called Anti-Diary. I'm like, hold on. So I got curious. I'm like, obviously Anti-Diary. What first came to my mind was, okay, Anti-Diary, anti something like antidepressant, anti this, anti that, anti-social, all of that. So that started coming in my mind. I'm like, okay, this kind of just um speaks some volume to my life, period, point blank. It speaks a lot of volume. Um, so I wound up looking it up, and it says anti-diary most commonly refers to the 2015 marketing campaign for Rihanna's album Anti, which used on interactive multi-platform experience to tell a story and build anticipation. It was an anti-diary because instead of a traditional diary of daily events, it presented a surreal symbolic journey through the artist's life and a career through a series of interactive rooms. When it said something about interactive rooms, I just got a visual of, you know, you know how there's like this artistic visual, there's like this artwork, and you know this person is in the hallway and there's so many rooms that you can go into. So that's kind of the visual that I got with that. And I went ahead and I just I was like, whoa, you know, it's like a collective, your collective subconscious, you know. And I recently watched this video and this lady was talking about, yeah, I don't know what this is, but it could be like an incubator, you know, incubator of your subconscious mind, everything, you know. In every video you go into on somebody's channel, it's like you're walking into that door. You're walking into that door. And when it comes to me, I have a lot of freaking doors. Like, I have a lot of freaking videos. And it's just like, wow, you know, I don't know when it comes to that. You know, it's just who I am. And when something comes to me, I just, you know, speak up about it. And that's a lot of videos, right? I have a lot of videos. I don't mean to make so many videos. It's just what I do, you know, is who I am. You know, certain stuff you just can't explain. And I was just thinking about that recently. You know how people can sort of explain themselves, explain everything to do. You can't really explain everything you do or everything that happens, because I feel like this is a realm, you know, the physical realm. And what comes to you, you know, what's given to you. But it's certain experiences that you have that it just doesn't belong to this realm. And you wonder, you know, why can't I really speak up about it? You know, those are the type of videos that just doesn't come out, you know. And I wonder sometimes, I'm like, you know what, I wish I can have a video for the surreal moments, for those dark, you know, those moments in the dark, you know. But it's just like you can't really capture those moments because it goes away too quick. Kind of like kind of like, you know how darkness can't survive in the light. It's like that, you know. You come into the light and that darkness just runs away, like your shadow runs away, or some type of shadow runs away before you can even catch it, and you can't capture it. That's how it is. And I'm just like, wow. In those moments, it's just like amazing. Um, so yeah. Um, so I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, nobody really explains the reason why they changed their name. So I'm going to go ahead and explain why I changed my name. Um, so yeah, that's the reason. And I didn't even know it was an anti-diary campaign. I just seen the word anti-diary and I went with it, but it's actually a campaign. Like, did she actually come up with this word? Like, I'm not a copywriter. Like, I'm not just, you know, calling it my name. I'm not just coming calling it out like, oh yeah, I'm not taking something from somebody. I didn't even know it had anything to do with Rihanna when I made the name. I just seeing, you know, whatever caught my attention in that moment made me want to label my name anti-diary. But I guess I could just be on top of this being my name, it can also, you know, reach out to anybody that's dealing with you know, anti bipolar, anti anything anti in your life, you know. I can just be one of those supporters as well. But yeah, she actually has a album called Anti. So yeah, I looked it up and you know, I just found out what I found out just now. I didn't know it was a campaign, but I guess I can be a supporter. But that's not what I originally did it for the original definition of what anti-diary means. So yeah, you just put two and two together, anti-diary, whatever you're going through, you put that, you know, anything that goes that resonates with anti, you put it in a journal, and it's just like you having that journal of anything that you're going through involved in relation to, like, you would talk to a psychiatrist or something. Um, but there's a lot of different names: antibiotic, antidote, antisocial, um, anti-hero, antibody, anti-freeze, anti-matter, anti-aircraft, anytime anti-abortion, um, those who are opposes abortion, anti-anxiety, anticipation, antioxidant, anti, anti is more so of opposition, or you oppose, um, against, and stuff like that. So, so this is the new, I want to say, I don't, the new chapter. It's not really, I wouldn't say it's new. Yeah, it's the new chapter, so you got that diary, my inspiration, my experience with inspiration. And now we're flipping a page or going to the next chapter, because the whole book is basically just IEsha. So chapter one, that was a long chapter, wasn't it? All the inspiration videos, my experience, and now we're going to the next chapter, anti. You know, once upon a time, I was antisocial, and this actually helped me break out of that problem. I This was a gateway to handling my problem with socializing. So yeah, this was my influence, and this has impacted my life outside of here in the way I socialize with other people. But sometime, ever since, recently, I have been having moments where I feel like socially congested, like I'm going back to that part of me that was socially congested. I couldn't really get out what I need to say. And I just, I go into this, it's like a shock. You're in shock. You just sit there and you just taking it all in, but nothing wants to come back out. So usually I do go back in. Recently, I have been feeling myself go back into that, and I'm trying to fight back because I don't want to go back to that part of me. But life is mysterious. You don't know why it happens, and but there's always something that you can take from it. So whenever it does happen, you just have to have faith that um, whatever will come out, and whatever's meant to happen will happen. Whatever happens, happens. That's my my freaking subtitle on top of Aisha's life. It's my subtitle. Everything, whatever happens, happens, because everything happens for a reason. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that, and I will talk to y'all next time. I just wanted to fill y'all in, because there's always spaces in between whatever we write down, trying to fill y'all in on those spaces, those empty spaces, you know, on the page. So yeah. That being said, like, comment, subscribe, be notified, share to your own free will to show you care, and y'all have a wonderful day and happy Thanksgiving. If I don't get to tell y'all um, on Thanksgiving Day. So yeah.